And welcome back to Inside the Valley on this Sunday morning. Well, right now we're talking with some ladies about International Angelman Day and the fundraiser that they have coming up here, and also a little bit more about Angelman Syndrome if you've never heard about it before. It's a very rare syndrome. I think about 1 in 20,000 kids are diagnosed with it, which makes it very rare. Talk a little bit more about Angelman Day, which I believe is just passed in February.
Yes.
Also, we'll talk a little bit more about the fundraiser. We have Audrey Longoria, and we also have Elizabeth Olguin on the show. Great to see both of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so as I just told you just a few minutes ago, this is the first time I've ever heard of Angelman Syndrome. What exactly is it?
Angelman Syndrome, it's a very rare neurogenetic disorder. My son got diagnosed at 6 months. They can get diagnosed any time from like 6 months to 3 years. Really, it's all about you know, the child and development, because they have developmental delays. So that's the first sign usually, and later on it's a speech impairment as well. So those are just some of the common, and of course our kids actually get they start getting seizures before the age of 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so I know Alejandro, he's already 11 years old. Yes.
And, usually it's more communication, nonverbal, speech.
Okay. And you're saying this happens after 6 months, or it can happen?
It can be anywhere between 6 months and 3 years. They usually get diagnosed, yeah. And I mean, they go through extensive therapies. Thankfully, you know, my son got diagnosed early, so ever since about 6.5 months, he's been going through therapy from speech, occupational, physical therapy, and it's about 30 times a month. It's a very large, yes, but I mean, they're so helpful. You know, speech is not just for them to be able to speak, but it's also feeding. A lot of parents don't know that, you know, they massage them, you know, their mouth, and they actually help them to learn to feed. A lot of the kids, they don't start eating solids until they're between 3 to 8 years old. So it's a large, yeah. I mean, it's difficult, but you know, we're learning. I'm a newer mom, obviously. You know, I'm still learning. I met Liz about a year ago, and then I met Angela, which is our coordinator for the walk.
Right.
I met her at the walk in Houston last year, which is my shirt that I'm wearing here. So yeah, and I mean, just by chance we met. Her family was walking right behind us, and we met. We're like, oh, you're from the Valley. Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Small
so I mean,
world.
yes, and then I met Liz through actually a coworker of mine knew of another Angelman child, so it's like, you know, just hearsay, and yeah, so it's interesting.
Wow. So I mean, you said there's a little bit of you know, you can tell with some speech impediments or whatnot. So do you have to also learn sign language? Does sign language become kind of?
No, you don't have to learn sign language. There's a way you could communicate with him. With them, like if they want something, they'll do a way to. I want this. Like if I want to eat, you try to do. Oh, I want to eat.
Yeah.
Like there are ways.
Now you're saying there are certain symptoms before you took your child to the doctor, and then once you took your child to the doctor, and the doctor said your son has
Angelman syndrome.
You go through the process of
And then when you found out how rare it was.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Well, I mean, what did the doctor say to you? Was he just like, you know, this is a super rare syndrome that?
Yeah, pretty much. My son, we got it as early as 4 months. We started noticing a developmental delay. We took him to his physician, and he said, you know what, yeah, there's something a little bit off here. Let's go ahead and send him to a neurologist. It takes about 1.5 months to get even to a neurologist, to a specialist. So thankfully our neurologist, you know, said, you know what, let's go ahead and do some testing. Everything kept coming out negative, so we're like, oh, nothing's wrong. And then sure enough, it came back, you know, the genetic test that, you know, he had Angelman syndrome. So it's kind of one of those, glad I got him diagnosed so early, but not so much glad, because, you know, you always want the best for your kids. But thankfully we got it early, and then, you know, we started going through the process. We got, you know, the therapies in order, and but yeah, I mean, it's really just the first sign is developmental delay. You start noticing, you know, they're not hitting those milestones, you know, that a typical child would meet. And of course, you know, Angelman children, they just have different milestones. It might take them a little bit longer to walk, but they're gonna get there.
Eventually,
you know?
right?
So,
Absolutely,
so,
absolutely.
And just gotta stay positive.
Every Angelman children is different.
Yes.
Some of them say some words. Some of them drink or eat well, and some of them don't.
Right, so everyone is different, has a different diagnosis. Now, how many people here in the Valley have Angelman syndrome?
There's about 10 in the valley, according to the neurologist. I actually had a different neurologist, but Liz helped me out get in touch with another neurologist, which he's very well known here in the valley. So he's actually written a book on Angelman. You know, he's been doing it for like 40 years, I believe.
Wow.
So yeah, and he informed me that he has about 10 Angelman children that he sees. So and that we know of only about half of them, about 5 that we know of.
Wow.
So yeah, and a lot of times what happens is that the families, because they can't get those resources, they can't get in touch, they don't know what's going on, and that they get those diagnoses so late, you know, in the game that they end up moving out of state, which is actually one of the mothers. She actually ended up moving to Houston to be closer to the Children's Hospital there in Houston to get more information and have other doctors and specialists, you know, closer. We actually took our son about twice to Houston just to go over there and speak to specialists. So it's a lot.
It's difficult, you know, especially when you're here in the valley and traveling up to Houston and having to go back and forth. That can be tough. Something great that you have coming up here. This is the first annual, is it an Angelman Walk and Run?
We only have about very few participants that want to run.
Yeah, I'll be the one of the walkers.
Yeah, I know. Yes, it's mainly walkers. It's a 5K, so it's it's like 3.2 miles.
Yeah.
But it's a walk. We already have, as of last week, we already had about 165 people registered for the walk.
Great.
Yes, we're gonna have food, you know, music. We're actually gonna be having free food. We'll be having raffles. We'll have a moon jump.
Everyone
for
loves
the kids.
moon jumps.
Yes, yes. As well, we're gonna have silent auctions, raffles for for people to win things, anything that was donated. We've had several sponsors. Our actually main sponsor is Harley Davidson.
Oh, great.
Yes. So and of course we have the bike run. That's the week prior, which is May 13th. So we have Harley Davidson. They're going to be going from Harley Davidson up to McCook. Yes, to the Mesquite Grill over there. So yeah, so we have kind of like the two events, and that's actually the first bike run that Angelman Foundation has ever heard of. So they actually posted it on their website, and we're so excited.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah,
we're having
very
a family from San Antonio.
Yes,
oh, really?
down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, great.
Just to the bike event.
Yes.
Oh, awesome. That's going to be fantastic. Now, how much is it to take part in both events?
So it's $25 either or event. You can do 25 each, basically, and then you get, if you pre-register, of course the deadline already passed for pre-registration, but we'll have a few extra shirts at the event. But it'll be a shirt, just like mine, but it'll have a different name. It's the Love, Hope, Smile. And it's gonna be like a coral shirt. And we have several volunteers that are gonna be there at the event as well, helping out. And we'll have one of the daughters actually here locally that she sings the national anthem at some of the football games. She'll be there singing for us. So,
very cool.
Yes.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a great event. Audrey and Elizabeth, I want to thank you
you
guys both so much for coming on the show and talking about a great event that you have coming up here. For a little bit more information, folks, you can go to angelman.org or call this number 956-874-5456 to find out a little bit more about Angelman, also the great events that they have coming up here and how you can get involved. Folks, don't go anywhere. When we come back on this Sunday morning, we're going to be talking to the folks from the Brownsville Fine Arts Department with BISD about a great event that they have coming up. Don't go anywhere.